somebody who's broke, who can't make a decision, who doesn't really need it, and is kind of like not sure if they want to do it now or not. Probably a terrible waste of your time. So all of these things, you want to use them, just use them for the right prospects. And so this is where free audits with some level of implementation, same day service delivery, any sort of done for you component. And the way that you have to think about this, I'll give you some math behind it. So let's say it costs you 1 hour of labor, right? They actually pay somebody else to do in order to give something valuable away. Now, let's say that $25 is your hard cost, but what people would realistically charge for this, and this happens all the time in services, is you could probably charge $250 plus for something like this. Not a bad, like pretty decent offer. $250 for free where there's real service, real person does work. That's fairly compelling. Now let's say that we get 1 out of 4 of these people who you give this $250 thing away for to do it. Well, what does that mean our cost to acquire a customer is? 25 times 4. And so would we be willing to give away a lead magnet to 4 people to get 1 to buy? Would I be willing to pay $100 to get a customer? Well, provided I'm making a lot more than $100 on the customer, probably. So not a bad idea. And so for my very first business, to give you an idea, I trained people for free for a year. I call it the free training project. And I did that because I wanted to get a bunch of testimonials. And then once I got a bunch of testimonials, then I showed the world the testimonials, more people did it, and they did it in exchange for money. In fact, it worked so well that after the year of time that I worked with those people for free, I said, hey, I have too much demand. Do you want to pay me now? And almost all of them said yes. That's what's like, people are like, oh, they're all freebie seekers. Like, no, they were all happy to pay, and that was that, right? So don't get like, if you get the right people, they will continue to stay and pay, provided you do a good job. So that leads me to my fourth way to deliver a lead magnet, which is physical, right? Physical products. And what's interesting again here is that you can combine these things. So what do you think these books are? These are lead magnets, right? Fundamentally. Now, obviously they're incredibly valuable. And after you solve your offer problem and you make something that way more people want to buy and then you make more money, what do you want? You're going to want to figure out ways to advertise that and get even more people to find out about it. And if any time you're like, hey, I would love help to just speed this process, you can call us, right? And if you're like, hey, I've done all of your stuff and I went from, 1 million to 50 million a year, I'd love to, have you guys invest with us and partner, then that's why we do all this stuff, right? It's a very long game. And so you can absolutely have something that's a physical product and information, right? Or the scaling roadmap is software plus information, right? You can combine these as many times as you want, but these are fundamentally kind of the categories that I think are when I'm like, okay, I get what I want to do, now how am I going to do it? But I'll give you a completely different example. So if you wanted to give away, let's say you go to a conference and you give a hat away to anyone that says that they're a CEO, that says CEO, right? CEO is pretty ego-driven, or a shirt that says CEO with lots of O's and $0 signs afterwards. A lot of people would do that. It's like, hey, but in order to get the shirt, you got to prove that you're CEO. So now I get an incredibly qualified list of CEOs that I gave a physical product to, right? And so the idea here is like, just think, what would somebody who is the type of person that I'm looking for want? And then can I just give that to them? And how much does it cost me for a t-shirt? $3, $4, fine. And maybe I convert only 1 out of 20 of those. $100 for a CEO feels like a good idea. So once we figure out what problem it solves, 4 ways to deliver that thing. The next is, how are we going to name it? So this one is so slept on, people underestimate the value of this by a mile. And so I'm going to have you not underestimate it and appropriately value this, which is name your lead magnet the right way. And I'm going to tell you the real secret of this. You ask your audience. All right, so this might seem minor to you, but it's massive, right? How you name your lead magnet